It's often been said that imagination makes the world go round. Constructive imagination that puts brains and idle hands to work. The literature of science is crammed with the adventures in imagination that have lifted obscure citizens to the pinnacles and benefited all mankind. Insignificant events that, tempered with imagination, brought great results. Newton and the falling apple, Galileo and the swinging chandelier, Archimedes and the overflowing bathtub made lasting contributions to the advance of civilization. James Watt saw his mother's tea kettle playing tricks with its lid. And his imagination gave us the first steam engine. Ben Franklin went out and flew a kite to discover the relationship between lightning and electricity. A pot of raw rubber boiled over on Charles Goodyear's stove, and he learned the secret of vulcanizing. Imagination, mixed with a radio-controlled model airplane, led to the development of the guided missile and to the better defense of our country. Nature has given each one of us more imagination than we ever use. But to keep this world turning in the right direction, every bit that is used should be guided toward constructive ends, toward the building of good citizens and a better life. In 1947, a new force entered the campaign to build good citizens by providing a constructive outlet for kids' imagination. Plymouth Motor Corporation sponsored the first international model plane contest to create an interesting, practical activity for the youth of the world. 500 qualified for competition in the final events, and during the 4-day contest, 3 new national records were made. The 1947 contest was so successful that it was decided to broaden the scope of the second international. PAL clubs began organizing early in 1948 to make this a year-round activity. Each club was sponsored by local Plymouth dealers who provided space for meetings and for building and working on models. Here they get ready to compete for the honor of representing their community in the big international. For only 500 of the top model builders of the world will reach the finals. In more than 200 cities, approximately 25,000 model plane builders were busy preparing for the second international contest. And in these cities, representing every state in the Union and many foreign countries, boys and girls working with skilled leaders are being helped to form a constructive outlook on life. These local contests arouse as much excitement as an old-fashioned circus day, with gigantic parades that draw crowds to see their young citizens competing for the high records needed to qualify in the international. Around the middle of August 1948, Detroit, the automobile capital of the world, once again became the international center of model plane builders. Contest headquarters in one of the city's big hotels was alive with the pre-flight preparations as Academy of Model Aeronautics licenses were renewed and checked. And official helmets and T-shirts were issued. And 6 blocks from the hotel, one of Detroit's largest Plymouth dealers provided tools and space for repairs and adjustments. On the first evening, H.B. Heberling, Plymouth's Assistant General Sales Manager, welcomed the contestants who were later briefed on weight requirements, processing restrictions, timing of flights, and all of the other regulations that govern events sanctioned by the Academy of Model Aeronautics. With morning of the second day, the 0 hour was near, and buses were waiting to carry the contestants into what might be the most dramatic hours of their lives, perhaps even to set new marks that would be recorded around the world. This is the picture they've seen in many dreams for many months. Setting foot on Newport Field, the great Naval Auxiliary Airfield. But like the seasoned veterans they are, no sign of excitement breaks through their expressions of self-confidence. There's too much to be done. There's no time for excitement among the contestants as test flights begin to fill the air. These are anxious moments, though. Will these models act up like small children in front of company? Even the lollipop brigade wonders about that. More and more planes bite into the air, testing the plans and work of many months, taking young hearts with them up toward the clouds. In the meantime, more contestants are coming in, and other recent arrivals are weighing in their planes to prove they carry at least 4 ounces for every 100 square inches of wing area. Test flights and official flights are now being made at the same time in a spectacle that goes far beyond anything offered by a 3-ring circus. All over the field, there's enough rubber being wound to bounce a check to the moon. Here, a husband and wife are winding up for a takeoff, while a father and son team up to twist the bands into a rope of driving energy. As this 3-boy power combination turns and turns with high hopes for the immediate future. But over here, our little pals are still trying to prove there really is such a thing as an all-day sucker. And why not, when they have a flight like this to look at? History was made this day at Newport Field with 4 new national records in the outdoor rubber-powered events. From the duration flights and the rubber-powered events, we go to the University of Detroit Stadium to see the latest in stunt and speed flying. Speed? Huh. There should be a much faster word for use in cases like this. With gas power in the Second International, a record of more than 144 miles an hour was made, and the jet-propelled model traveled at the rate of almost 142 miles an hour. Model plane builders have invented a name of their own for planes fast enough for the international speed events. They're known as hot jobs, which are a couple of pretty good words to describe these 4-pound projectiles in their flight. And all that keeps this energetic missile from turning itself into a candidate for the next Boy Scout junk drive is the pilot's skill as he operates the movable tail surfaces with some mighty, mighty strong steel lines. On the sidelines, 7-year-old Billy Payton of Vallejo, California, the youngest contender, is making out his flight plan for the stunt event. But don't get the idea that this contest is a male monopoly. Because here's 11-year-old Sandra Pinckney of Elmhurst, Illinois, back for her second international contest. And good news, she flew her planes to the High Point Girls Championship. Sometimes there's almost as much drama in watching the attempts that are made to start these planes. There's always that question, will it or won't it? This looks all right. There we go. Oh, but that can be fixed up. Yeah, there. It's not that serious. Look at those planes taking off. That ought to make you feel better. It does, doesn't it? Sure, I thought it would. Those people over there understand. They know he can fix it up. And he's taking it like a good sport. And I'll let you in on something else. There were 3 national records made in the control line speed events. Yeah, 2 in the junior class and 1 in the senior. Okay, let's see some stunt flying. Take a look at this vertical climb and loop. And here's a nice inside loop. These stunt models can be made to do almost anything that a full-size plane does. Anything, and a little bit more. This model is dancing under as complete control as a hen-pecked husband. And now, for more stunt flying. Stunting with a smoke screen. More stunting with William Tell accuracy. Watch the air go out of that balloon. Whoop, so fast we couldn't see it. Put the air back in the balloon and try it again. Yes, that last scene was pretty sure to bring Scottish enthusiasm up to a skirling pitch. Making one balloon do the job of 2 is always a braw sight to a Scotsee. And as the kilties move in, the shades of evening come down. While the crowds begin arriving for the night stunt flying. But since the human eye is still superior to the best color film, let's go back to daylight and the gas-powered free flight events at Newport Field. Weighing in is one of the first requirements. Each model has to weigh at least 100 ounces for each cubic inch of piston displacement. Some of the engines weigh as little as 2 ounces, and the largest planes send the scale up to almost 7 pounds. Assembly of the larger models has to be completed after the contestants reach the field. They're too big to be transported in one piece. And, of course, little sister has to get into the fun, too, so Pop goes on the assembly line. Spectators begin to crowd around the launching areas of the contestants, and with high hopes, one of the boys pastes a return label on his plane. Some of these models fly as far as 50 miles, and most of them come back, but a fella has to be sure. Here goes one, with Dad acting as ground crew. There's good experience for a football end or a baseball shortstop. Makes me kind of thirsty, too. We'll have to get that cooler filled, son. Some models don't have the instincts of a homing pigeon, so a retriever truck goes to the rescue. No damage this trip. These models can really take a good bouncing. And watch this sailplane as it tries to impersonate a golf ball. Even with a smack like that, only a bent landing gear. But when adjustments and repairs are needed, these contestants know what to do. And they have the tools to work with in bringing their engines, fuselage, and wings back to competitive form. And the place to go for first aid when a contestant himself needs a little patching. But let's go upstairs again. And still they poke their noses toward the clouds. Sometimes they seem a little happy to be back again. Not this one, though. She's climbing like a homesick angel. And down here on Earth, the lollipop kids are still trying to figure out how it's done. From the chattering engines of the gas-powered free flights on Newport Field, we go to the Michigan State Fair Coliseum for the quietest of all model plane contests, the indoor stick and cabin events. Planes of this type are too delicate for flying anywhere but indoors. Even the draft from an open door might crash them into a small pile of splinters. Propellers move with all the speed of a small boy on his way to the dentist. They make less than 100 revolutions a minute, just enough to keep the models aloft. This is poetry in motion. Poetry as fragile as a baby's dream. Building and flying these planes requires outstanding craftsmanship, and for many, it becomes a lifelong hobby. This contestant has built models for 20 years, but he still gets advice from the gallery. Making the material that covers the model's surface calls for great skill. And that small red-haired boy in the striped sweater heartily approves of using all castor oil in this way. A few drops of castor oil and airplane dope poured on water spread into a broad, thin sheet of microfilm. This film is then lifted off of the water, ready to be used as a covering for the model's framework. It's so sensitive that by breathing lightly on it, the pitch of a propeller can be changed. And everyone on the floor has to walk with care, because a too rapid air current can break the delicate structure. No other type of model can stay in the air with as little effort as these indoor rubber-powered planes. They're almost as light as a puff of smoke, with a weight of less than 1/10 of an ounce. Frank Cummings of Los Angeles launches his bubble on wings. He won this event in the open division and came within 2 minutes of equaling the national record. Cummings' amassed points made him the open high point champion of this second international contest. But there was time, too, for relaxation between contests. An open house was held at the US Naval Air Station on Grosse Ile. And more fun at the hotel. And then, on the 6th day, came the final big event. The top model plane builders and flyers of the world have gathered to bring the second international to its close. And here come the best of the best. Among them, the holders of 7 national records to take their places in the winner's circle. But first, even in the midst of all this excitement, let's eat. And now the time has really come as R.C. Somerville, Plymouth's general sales manager, opens the ceremony of awarding 141 trophies and 135 cash prizes. K.T. Keller, president of Chrysler Corporation, hands a heavy one to Jack Hudspeth of Portland, Oregon, junior high point winner, to start the presentation that continued on for several hours. Donald G. Hobel of Buffalo, senior high point champion, receives his trophy from General Robert C. Candie of the United States Air Force. A. Vanderzee, Chrysler Corporation vice president, keeps the procession of trophies moving with another award. D.S. Evans, president of Plymouth, makes the award for the highest speed in the jet events. Bob Thor here represents the team of Thor and H.H. Lundquist, both of Minneapolis. Sandra Pinckney of Elmhurst, Illinois, girl high point winner, gets both a trophy and a kiss from C.E. Bleicher, president of DeSoto. Leonard Wagner, Niagara Falls, New York, first place winner in the open Class A speed contest, is given his trophy by H.L. Weckler, Chrysler Corporation vice president. A. Wallace, president of the Chrysler Sales Corporation, presents trophies to the open and senior first place winners in the Stinson Flying Scale Contest, George Earl of Detroit and Robert Rada of Berwyn, Illinois. And here's Bob Thor of Thor and Lundquist back again, this time as first place winner in the open jet-propelled event. With him is Donald Block, also of Minneapolis, winner in the senior class and new national record holder. H.C. Moak, Plymouth Vice President, makes the presentation. The first place stunt winners in all three classes get their awards from C.B. Thomas, President of Chrysler Export. They're Louis Andrews, Newton, Massachusetts, Jack Gilroy, North Hollywood, California, and Clifford Scheibel, Roselle Park, New Jersey. But early in the evening, Billy Payton of Vallejo, California, is honored as the youngest contestant. H.B. Heberling, Plymouth's Assistant General Sales Manager, makes the award. First place winners in all three classes of indoor stick, Bill Atwood, Glendale, California, Carl Brewer, Detroit, and Raymond Wykes, Medford, Massachusetts, with H.R. Matheny, Vice President and Operating Manager, Chrysler, Highland Park. And two more new national record holders with C.L. Jacobson, Assistant to General Manager of Chrysler Corporation. These champs, Harold Stouffer of Indianapolis and Carl Redlin of Detroit, made their marks in the rubber-powered outdoor cabin event. And John Corta of Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, won in the junior class. So far into the night went the parade of winners, of near champions and of new champions, receiving cash awards, permanent trophies, and the Stinson Aircraft and Air Trails magazine perpetual trophies. Besides Redlin, Stouffer, and Block, the names of other new champions: Haig Parchanian, Cambridge, Massachusetts; Robert Perkins, Clarksburg, West Virginia; Kenneth Kimmel, Fort Wayne, Indiana; and Edward Sweet, Beloit, Wisconsin, are to be emblazoned for all time in the annals of model plane competition. For this has truly been one of the most memorable and successful contests in the 44-year history of the hobby. Not because of the Second International alone, but also because it still further stimulates the organizing of PAL clubs throughout the world to keep kids busy at constructive occupations all through the year, helping to make a vast contribution in character building and the stimulation of good citizenship. But hold on there. We almost forgot about you kids. You'd better go on home now and start building your own models, because we've come to the end.